looking towards this summer, this fall, you want to be thinking in your study timeline, of course, aside from what's laid out in the study plans, is what are your other obligations? What vacations might you be taking? Are you going away for a week or a month? Of course, we're in July now, August rapidly approaching. That's the month of vacations. So if you're going on vacation or if you're going out of town, make a decision. Are you going to take your LSAT prep books with you or not? Are you going to have them on the beach or when you're with family, or are you just taking a break? Whatever you decide, just decide on it and stick to it. Personally, I'm more inclined towards keep studying. It's worth it. Even just a little bit a day makes a big difference. If you're going to the Caribbean, if you're going on a beach vacation, maybe just knock out a half hour or an hour in the morning, get it out of the way and be done with it. But it is worth having a certain level of consistency, because once you break that pattern of studying, it's easy to let one day turn into 3, turn into 5. Then you get back from your vacation, you're back at work, work is busy or school is busy if you're taking summer classes or just back in the fall. It's hard to get back on the wagon and then you lose the momentum. So it's really worth sticking with it ideally. But on the flip side, it is a marathon, not a sprint. So if you feel guilty about not studying, then you get back to it. Don't try to catch up on everything in one day or in 1 week. The schedules are more important for the level of specificity about what to do than the particular day by day or week by week breakdown. And so catch up bit by bit. Maybe do, let's say if you're a few days behind, do 3 days worth of work in 2 days or 5 days worth of work in 3 days, but don't try to do 7 days worth of work in one single day. It's just too much. And in terms of how to carve studying out of your day, if you have other obligations, carve it out if you're working, before work, during lunch, or after work. Ideally, get to work early, find a conference room at work or a coffee shop nearby, and knock out an hour or two before work starts. Carve out time during lunch. If time at work is slow, or you can at least do stuff online, you could watch my videos or listen to the podcast or read my articles. Just consume some LSAT material while you're on the clock. And then after work, before you get home, before you leave work and go home, try to knock out another hour or two. But once you get home from work, once you get into your comfies, it's really hard to have the motivation to study, especially when it's later in the evening already and you have roommates or family or significant others, or even just Netflix and takeout to distract you. It can be hard to actually crack open the books then. But while you're in work mode, while you're in your work attire, it's much easier to stay focused typically. Now, if you're in school, treat it at least like it's a 6-credit class, if not more. And it's kind of funny because your LSAT score weighs more heavily than your GPA in law school admissions, but you earn it over the course of, it weighs less heavily than the LSAT in law school admissions, but you earn it over the course of 3 to 5 years. The LSAT's more important than the GPA, but you earn it only in a single day or multiple days if you're retaking. And so it is worth making the time investment in your LSAT studying. And people really do underestimate how long this takes. I typically recommend at least 5 to 6 months to reach your fullest potential on the LSAT. 3 to 5 months is, of course, is more realistic for most folks, but not less than 3 months ever. 2 to 3 months is really not enough. I do recommend more than that. And so if you've been aiming for September, again, I would suggest October or November as well, just to add a little more time to your timeline, to your runway. And if you take multiple, that's totally fine. But I would suggest for most of you, consider November at least, because it will give you a longer time frame. It's about 4 months from now, which is a good chunk of time. And I know that most, if not all of you, have been at it for a little while. You're not starting from scratch, but it is worth giving yourself that timeline if you need it. And coming back to the rolling admissions question, taking any time up to November is considered early in the law school admissions timeline in terms of your application. If you take the November LSAT and apply once you get your score back, that is still considered early. Anything into 2020, going into the January, February, March, that will be a little bit on the average to late side, which means that it might be marginally tougher to get in, and of course, less scholarship money available. But anytime you take the LSAT this fall, if you apply once you get your score back, that is still perfectly early and should not really hurt your odds at all. And there still should be plenty of scholarship money available. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.